Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell from the title, we're going to be doing a full review on the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette, and I'm sure you've heard all of the opinions on this palette, so I wanted to give my full unbiased opinion on how I think this palette performs. So I'm going to be doing a full review which includes finger swatches, brush swatches, and my eyes, and then give my opinion at the end of the video. So I think that finger swatches are a little bit deceiving, honestly, because you're not really putting on your eyeshadows with your finger. If you are, then I guess this is helpful for you, but I don't really understand how this helps people decide whether a palette is good or not, but I just wanted to put it in there because a lot of people appreciate seeing it. So obviously they work pretty well with your fingers, and they do not come off that easily, which I like because it's not going to disappear throughout the day. So I'd use a cleansing water, which I normally do when I remove my makeup off my face. And I'm going to use an eyeshadow primer, which I normally do when I put my eyeshadow on. And Anastasia did recommend you use a natural bristle brush, so I'm using the M576 for Morphe and the synthetic M224 for the shimmer shades. And then in between colors, I'm going to use a brush cleaner, and for the shimmer shades, I'm going to be using the MAC Fix Plus, just to be fair, because that's what I do when I put it on my eyes for the shimmer shades. So as you can see, I'm going to do a dry swatch of the shimmer shade just to see how it looks dry, and then do it wet with the Fix Plus, which that way you can see both. And as you can see, there is a little bit of fallout, but honestly, I don't really expect less because it is a powder, so obviously there's going to be fallout. And I compared it to their very famous Modern Renaissance palette that everyone loved, and it has the same amount of fallout. And I even compared it to the Mario palette. So honestly, I think they all have the same fallout. Everyone's just flipping out about this palette because everyone else on YouTube was. So I'm going to start off with my crease. I'm using Dawn in the crease and then putting Edge over top of it to give it a little bit more of a yellow look to it. And then putting it over top of Dawn somehow made the yellow really, really dark in my crease. It looked like I put like a brown in there. So then I put New Wave over it to kind of lighten it up a little bit, but it kind of just made it darker, which I'm just not used to this formulation of these shadows yet, because honestly all of the eyeshadow palettes that I own don't really perform this way, so maybe it's like a new thing, I don't know. So then I'm going to try to darken it up with a little bit of All Star, which wasn't really working out for me. It was just kind of muddying like all of the colors together. But as you can see, it as I keep adding it on, it is darkening it up a little bit. And I was just having a little bit of a hard time blending it out, so I wanted to kind of start over fresh. So I am going to use a makeup wipe and remove it because I wasn't really happy with how it was looking. So I was just kind of getting started. I'm not really used to the way that these shadows are. I own a lot of other eyeshadow palettes and all of the other Anastasia palettes, and they don't really work this way. All of the fallout is the same in my opinion, but just not the way that the shadows blend together. So as you can see, I do have Edge in my crease right now, and I'm going to use New Wave to add a little bit more warmth to it, but it didn't really work because the colors are pretty close together. So then I'm going to use Roxy in the crease just to add a little bit more orange to it. And I do like that color a lot. It blends really well. And then going back in with that red that I really wanted to make it work, because as you know from all of my eyeshadow looks, I always do oranges and reds, and it's just not really blending the way that I wanted it to. And it's just like every time I kept blending, it was kind of losing some of the pigment. And I kept switching the brushes that I was using, thinking I was like maybe using the wrong brush. So then I went to the brush that actually came in the palette for this one. And as you can see, it looks good as you're packing it on, but then when you start to blend it over the lid, oh, by the way, this is Rowdy in the palette, and it kind of loses the pigment. I zoomed in extra close that we could see that it was just like lightening up as I was blending it out, which is kind of normal for an eyeshadow, but it like was not keeping its darkness, and it is a really dark eyeshadow. And then I'm going to try to cover that up with Adorn, which is a really bronzy shimmer color, which is really pretty and reflective. It just looked kind of odd to me. So I'm going to start to refresh again because I wanted it to look good and I wanted to make it work. So then I decided I just wanted to change the whole color scheme and just go a little bit more cool toned. So I'm using Mercury, which I actually really love. It was a really pretty taupe kind of gray color. And then I'm going to use Axis, which is that dark teal color, which really honestly surprised me that it worked really well with this dense packing brush, because as you can see in the swatch right here, it did not really perform that well with a blending brush. So maybe it's just your brush choice that works well with each different shadow. So I don't know. So underneath, I'm going to use Edge underneath of the eye and just smudge that into the lash line and then darken it really, really close to the lash line with Rowdy. And Rowdy did work well on the lash line, just not blended out over the whole lid. And then I'm going to use Electric, which I'm in love with this color. It is so different. I've never had it in any other palette I have. And that was with it dry. I didn't even wet it. And then I'm going to use the Kat Von D tattoo liner just to make a really dramatic wing, since the lid is pretty simple. And then I'm going to add a little bit of mascara, and then the lashes I'm doing are Natalia from the House of Lashes and Sephora Collection collab. And as I was saying in a couple of my other past videos, these are my all-time favorite lashes, and they're only $14. So I'm saving a little bit of money so I don't have to buy the velour lashes anymore. So I'm obsessed with those lashes. And then for the liner, I'm going to be using the MAC Subculture liner, and I thought it was really fitting for the title of the palette. And then for the gloss, I'm going to be doing my all-time favorite gloss ever, which is Anastasia Undressed Gloss. So that will complete the entire look. I'm not really totally in love with the formula yet. I'm just not personally used to it. I'm going to have to play around with it a little bit, but it did spark a lot of creativity in my mind, and there's a lot of different colors in here, so I do like the palette. I just have to get used to it. So I would say if you're a creative person when it comes to your makeup, definitely go out and give it a try. Also, if you aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, definitely give it a subscribe. Normally I do post 1 to 2 videos every single week. If you aren't following me on my Instagram, I do post twice every single day on my Instagram, which is zboner, which is written on the screen right here. Definitely give me a follow, and if you have any questions, DM me on Instagram and I will be happy to answer any of those for you. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.